Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Front Door Show. This is part two of today. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was the supposed to be the Front Door Show, but because of the blackout situation, I called up Nady here, who's my guest today, and basically we agreed that we're gonna do it today. So part two. Say hello to everybody, Nady.
Hi, how is everyone doing? Thank you so much for tuning in on this part two, double header. All right.
Yes,
If you
yes,
can't have
yes.
a baseball double header, why not have this stuff, huh?
So believe it or not, this is my third interview today.
Oh, triple.
Believe it, I had with my Miguel Tech, my guy that does all my video production.
Yeah.
I have forgot that this was set up last week, that it was supposed to be Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So I had an interview at 5 o'clock, an interview at 8 o'clock, and then with you at 10 o'clock. So it's been I mean, not that I'm complaining and stuff like that, because obviously I could be doing absolutely nothing.
Well,
So I'm happy to do all this and stuff like that. And then now, so just in case people don't know anything about you, introduce yourself, give your websites, give everything, kind of try to give it a good
I'm
1
gonna
minute.
I'm gonna make it as informative as possible here. How about that?
Okay. And meanwhile, I'm going to set up a watch party. Go ahead.
There you go. Go ahead. All righty. So the name is Nady Maxx, and been DJing probably since I was 13 years old, playing music probably since I was 8 years old. How about that? My mother really inspired me into to music, and I just pretty much ran with it. My mother encouraged it, and family. But yeah, I've been DJing for quite some time. Well, since then, since 13, 19, what is it? 80, probably 79 up to now. How about that? I'm probably one of the very few DJs that's never retired, never quit, took some time off, kept going since 79. How about that?
All right. So let's start from the beginning before we get into the some of the other factors of your life. You said your mom. Why is that? Why was it your mom the one who got you into the music? What was that about?
How about this? As far as I can remember, I've always played music for my mom was a big record collector. I played all her music. She'd like, play this one for me next, play this one for me next. And there I go. There I go. I mean, 8 years old, little toy record player. I made it happen, I guess. And yeah, sure enough, family gatherings. There's the 8-year-old playing the music for everyone. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I guess back then people loved music as well as now. So, that's something that will never change.
So was it just more like family gatherings that you were playing music? That's what
In
kind
the
of was like.
beginning, like at a very, very young age, yes, up until 13, believe it or not, I was
Okay.
actually mixing and, well, at least trying to mix. There was a couple of DJs in the neighborhood. I grew up in back of the yards area. Um, uh, and there was quite a few DJs in the area there. A guy named Danny, Phil Trejo, one of my very, very, very top persons that inspired me as well. And let's see, another person by Ramon. So, it being a pretty rough area, and these guys really saw what I was doing or trying to do, and really, really set me in the right path. Like, you don't need to be hanging out there, do your thing, trust me, just do it. And I did it, and I owe it to a lot of to a guy named Ramon, Phil Trejo, um, and pretty much those two people pretty much inspired it as well. I mean, at a very young age. Also, when I started mixing, uh, Tony Mandaka was another inspiration to me, and we met just on a really, really freak basis because here's a 14-year-old kid DJing, and I guess one of these bar owners in the neighborhood is like, hey kid, you want to play some music here for me? And sure enough, I walk in and there's this older gentleman or older guy playing music, and lo and behold, it was Tony Mandaka playing there. I didn't even know who he was until later. This is Tony Mandaka that used to work at Imports Etc., the record store. So that's pretty much the early 14-year-old, wasn't even old enough to even be at a bar or club or DJ there, but that was me. You know, this kid going home, walking 4 blocks from his house, going home at 2, 3 in the morning. I'm like, it was like a wake up call. Like, why am I walking home at 3 in the morning?
Do you remember the place that you were DJing at?
It was called New City Tap. At that time, 79, I mean, not 79, 80, 79, yeah, there was a lot of bars in the neighborhood. I mean, you had a bar in every freaking block. And, you know, it was great. You know, everyone just had somewhere to go in their own block. I guess back of the yards back then was very, very, very busy industry, packing food and I guess meat packing industry, where the life was just 24 hours. People, you know, all 3 shifts. People drank, you know, after getting out of work, all 3. So there was bars open all night back in those days, from what I hear and I read. Yeah.
So you were DJing with Tony, and obviously you were underage DJing in a 21 and over setting per se.
Correct.
Excuse that word again.
Sorry.
And so you're DJing disco, funk, and high energy at that time, right? That was the music of the era.
Okay, so let me get to you on that. So Phil Trejo, rest in peace. You know, he's very inspirational to me, and you know, I get a little choked up when I talk about him. But he helped me a lot. He gave me all his records from his era, and he belonged to a record pool called Dogs of War. And I still I see little postings of these older DJs talking about that record pool. I wish I could know a little bit more about that record pool, where it existed, how it became, but all these records came from him, that he belonged to that record pool. All promotional copies, disco, I mean, he brought me boxes and boxes, and me, a kid, I went through all that stuff. And it was just like, it was just such a blessing of Phil doing that really catapulted me into the different genres during that era in music, and how all this just evolved. And I can relate from all that stuff to now. It's incredible how you can put these 2 things, or quite a few things, together, that, you know, what you have now in present. So yeah, I mean, then I was a lot of disco, a lot of funk, 1980, 79. And I know these records were way before that. So, I mean, this is when I got them, and I was just.
Well, but there was disco as well. There was, you know,
You name it. Yes.
That was the time, you know, because it was disco, dance, funk, R&B type of music and stuff like that. Was what you were listening to as far as playing for the 21 and over crowd that you were DJing to at your age.
Correct. Yes.
So here you are with Tony Medaka. Yeah, and what happens to you after that?
Went to high school right after that, and pretty much met up with quite a few people in high school. Night Sound Promotions, Jamie Frias, Hector Frias took me on. They were doing parties during that time when I was a freshman in high school, and created a big buzz, had a big following, and you know, that's when all the Highlanders, the St. Agnes's, and the American Legions, and I mean, like Archview Ballroom. How about that? And I mean, it's just you name it. I mean, they did a lot of those, and then you had a bunch of other promoters, Felix Carranza, Magic Sounds, and we used a lot of each other's DJs to promote each other, and
Right.
it worked out very well. It was a really great era. I mean, during the high school years, I mean, was it 81, 82, I think it was, but yeah. I mean, that was during my high school years there. Was in a few Battle of the DJs during high school too as well. I did the like the 10th annual Battle of the DJs, Navy Pier Pan American Fest. Remember those?
Yep.
Yeah, I was part of that. Those battles, you know, DMC battles that Tony Batoy hosted. I was in, some of those. Um, During the high school years, since I was DJing with Hector Frias and Jamie, they knew the guys over at Loop Records very well, Dan Snyder and Jesse Jones,
Correct.
and they would come out. Jesse Jones would come out to host a couple of the parties as well. So Jamie introduced me to Jesse Jones. Jesse's like, "Hey, you looking for a job, kid?" I'm like, "Yes." So after high school, there I would go work the record store, and this is Loop Records before Andre was there, okay? And this was Loop Records when it was on Jackson, and then that next year they moved over to State Street.
Okay. All right. That was way before.
Absolutely, they were on Jackson, and then they moved the store over to State Street, where it was a really nice, awesome, big, brand new store during
Right.
that time. During that time, working at Loop Records, got to know a lot of people. All the Hot Mix 5 will walk in there. I mean, we would get so much stuff from different distributors. We would break songs there at Loop Records, give them to Ralphie, Kenny would come in, Farley, and like, boom, what's the new stuff? And they would ask me actually. And we would buy stuff that couldn't sell in New York or somewhere else in another location. And we would like, oh yeah, give me a box of that, really cheap. Would give it to the Hot Mix 5, play it on the radio, boom, these records were just selling off the shelves because they were getting airplay.
Right.
Another person I met that I owe a lot of my career to as well, Benji Spinoza. He was part of the distribution. He would bring in records from different distributors, and we would actually hear them, and pick and choose. But we were selling a lot. I mean, I would open up the store on a Saturday morning. I had DJs lined up waiting for me to open up the doors. Because like, hey, Nady, Ralphie played this song last night, or Kenny, like, dude, I'm like, here it is right here. I mean, I would catch those songs in like 2 notes or 3 notes, you know what I mean? All the new stuff, I mean, we had it, we were breaking it there. A lot of Imports was doing the same thing, but we were really, I mean, we were really connected with a lot of stores as well, as far as vinyl, during that time. But yeah. I mean, got to meet a lot of people there at Loop Records,
So you were basically in the hub of the music industry back in was it 82? Is it 82, 83 at this point?
I want to say yes. I mean, that's, probably 82, 81. I think I was at Loop Records for about 3 years around there. And then,
Okay.
I mean, I was there during all the Chicago house that came out. I mean, we were just getting boxes and boxes of stuff. Every stuff was just flying off the shelves, and I mean, I would buy quite a few myself, and after I would get home from work, local DJs from the area would knock on my door like, "Hey, got any vinyl?" I'm like, "I got all these. These are brand new." I would sell out at home as well. So, but it was great. The thing is, a lot of DJs couldn't come out to downtown, and I was their resource, in the area too.
Right,
So,
right.
and yeah, believe it or not, I mean, I would DJ at all these places, and like I would have like extra records, like I just played this record here. Anyone want to buy a copy of this? And I was just selling them right off the right out of my crate sometimes.
Right. Oh, that was smart. So you were doing all these hall parties, they were called teenage hall parties, right?
Yeah.
And then where do you gravitate after that?
So
You're working Loop Records, you're done with Loop Records, and then now you're 16, 17. What's happening there?
so there, I mean, I went to CYC. I was still in high school when I was in CYC. Since we were doing so many events with all the halls and so forth, Kenny, you know, he was a regular DJ that we hired all the time, and you know, Kenny, hey Nady, meet me. I forgot what day on a Monday at WCYC. You know, just meet me there, and I'm like, okay, you know, went there, CYC, met you know, all the radio personnel and everything, and everyone was just like looking at me. They're like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy?" And you know, like I don't know, Kenny just told me to come by, and I'm supposed to meet him there. So waiting. Kenny couldn't make it. Kenny calls, "Hey, we'll do this on a Polycom speakerphone. We'll just do a conference call with everyone in one room." And so everyone's giving them updates, how the station's running, you know, all that good stuff, music. And then, you know, phone call was almost finishing up, and one of the guys like, "Hey, there's someone here that came to see you. I think his name is Nady." And he's like, "Oh yeah, yes, Nady. He's our new hot mix guy on the station." And this is actually before dominating six stuff, guys. Okay, so so the dominating six stuff, awesome guys. But you know what? There was a lot of DJs on CYC that were there way before that as well. Okay.
So you basically, Kenny springs it on them saying, "Hey, you're the new mix guy." So what does that mean for you as far as that? What is
Uh,
that?
like a lot more hirings, a lot more parties. You know, I was doing shows with Candy as well. She had her own show. I think it was a Sunday night or a Monday night. She played old school stuff. I mean, by back then wasn't old school stuff. It was kind of like new stuff as well. So what I would do is I would remix some of this music, because she was just playing it like someone would record it and play it, you know, one after the other. I'm like, "Hey, okay, we're gonna do something with your show. Why don't I just remix everything that's in your library that you're gonna play, and we'll just remix the heck out of it, make it sound really, really cool. You know, not like, you know, playing one song after the other." So I got a big break on there, you know, as far as editing and displaying a lot of my remix abilities, you know. So let's see. Also, let's see. I mean, after CYC, pretty much nightclubs, a lot of nightclubs. It was like right after CYC, I hit a lot of nightclubs. Not huge nightclubs, right? You know, smaller like Richie's, for example, TKO's, just to name a few. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in nightclubs after that. Richie's, for example, I mean, wow, I was there. I mean, I was there actually even before I was 21. Richie was a very, very good friend of mine as well, and his dad, like, you know, "If you guys are gonna drink in my place, but in the back room, you know." At least he knew what we were at.
Right,
But
which is smart.
but you know, it evolved from there. Like, "Hey, we're getting older. We hit 21. Hey, let's start DJing at this bar." So all of a sudden, his dad remodeled his whole place there, had extended the bar, you know, opened up all these storefronts to create one big club, and you know, sure enough, you know, uh, I was really not DJing during that time there per se. So I was, you know, Boogie was there, a couple other handful of DJs, and I'm like, okay. So I took over Thursdays, and Thursday night. As soon as I took over Thursday nights, I had a Thursday night rolling in there jam packed for probably, I would want to say, 6 years straight.
So
Non,
were you the alternative to Prime and Tender on the south side? Is that why it was so busy?
I would probably say so. Prime and Tender was pretty busy. They had their Wednesdays, you know, and then, you know, their weekends. I think the weekends were more, you know, conflicting with that place. so people had more choices.
Right.
But once Thursday nights hit this place, nobody had a Thursdays anywhere. I mean,
Well,
that
wasn't the
like,
original quarter night, Dandy, wasn't the original quarter night Thursday nights at Prime and Tender?
it was quarter nights. We kind of promoted the same thing there.
Okay.
Well, 25-cent cups of beer, which are 12 ounces, and dollar shots and $3 pitchers. We actually did the math one night. We filled up 12 ounces and we poured them all into a pitcher, and it actually added up to $3. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The quarter beer, you should have just ordered the pitcher because it's the same thing.
But I mean, but just quarter sounds more,
More affordable.
No, it's just, hey guys, I got $10. Let me invite everybody.
Well, funny you say that. We were eating once at a restaurant, my buddy 9 Miles, and like 5 girls. They were eating and they were just wasted. And Miles and I were like, hey, where are you guys coming from? Oh, we're coming from Prime and Tender. Like, wow, all you guys probably got drunk with $5.
And it's true.
Yeah, but hey, the good old days.
The good old days. And you were, where were you guys eating at?
I think it was like Total Nicos or something like that. 47, but yeah.
I thought I'll be at Faro around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of the late night dining, man.
Yep. We all know those spots.
Yeah.
So you're DJing at Richie's, and you're doing well on Thursdays. Are you DJing anywhere else on the Friday and Saturday, or you're still in high school, or are you?
No, this is after the high school stuff. All the halls. I mean, there was probably a couple here and there that were popping up, but a lot of that kind of like just toned down. It just got a little too messy. A lot of the venue people that didn't want to have a bunch of kids, partying, for these, while these parties were happening. But anyways, so the Richies, I was at TKO's also on Fridays. I did a really long span there as well. Saturdays, I was kind of flip-flopping Richie's Thursday and Saturdays a little bit too. During those years, I think it was 2000. I mean, it was 1996 maybe. 5, 6, 7 around there, and I was doing TKOs, doing Richie's. I think like even in my younger years, that New City tablet, I was doing Vincey's back then when I was like 15 years old, believe it or not.
Okay.
But a lot of the bar area stuff there, you know what I mean? Archer, 63rd, back of the yards, So, but
and then I guess that comes back to the time frame that Wesley and I were talking about, where you did the battle of the DJs at Quinn 2, and so that's going to be brought off. That was about that same time, because if I'm not mistaken, that's what I kind of did, is I reached out to the DJs at the other places. I believe you were TKO's, Gabriel was another club, Wesley was another club. It was kind of like, well, because we're open to 5 o'clock in the morning, that's how we were able to do that, because we're saying, okay, the DJ's got a DJ in the regular spot, but we're going to do a battle of the DJs, and you, Gabriel, and Wesley were the finalists to this infamous battle. The
infamous battle. Yeah, the Quinn Street battle. It was in the bag. Wesley didn't show up because he knew he was going to lose. He could talk up a storm and say, "Oh, the club didn't let me go to do this battle." Right. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm just messing though. But it would have been an interesting battle. And I heard you do the interview with Wesley. Gabriel, it was between Gabriel and I, the 2 runner-ups there. And I did pull that one trick record on him, where
that's,
you had your regular
I remembered,
track.
right? Yeah, that was it, right?
Absolutely. That was it. And yeah, so as soon as the 32 count ended, it just went into like a really deep drop. And how can you actually mix out of that? You can't. So I think right after that, yeah, I pretty much took it over after that.
You sneaky bitch.
Well, but it was a real fun battle. I mean, that place was slammed. And like I said, I do have the video. I just need to order an adapter cable for my, it's an actual compact VHS tape. And I do have footage of that, of the whole, I think the whole battle pretty much. And
Really?
there you go. You see Candy there, hosting the whole thing, talking over the DJ sets. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, here I am, like, this girl's just talking over everyone's DJ set. And I said, right before I go on, I go, well, that wasn't Candy back then. It was Michelle, I think. So I go, Michelle, please do not talk over my DJ set. Thank you. And during my whole DJ set, she was just like staring at me like, ooh. I'm like, don't. But yeah. I mean, like I said, I'll post it. I do have footage. I'll send you a copy, and as soon as I get it transferred digitally,
I would love to see that because
Yeah.
I'm sure I hope there's enough footage where I can see people I haven't seen in years
Yeah.
inside the videos, because I mean, honestly, we didn't have the wherewithal to video record that back in the days, and that was
Yeah.
that was pre, we didn't have
Before
phones.
social media.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't even MySpace. It was just there wasn't anything.
Yeah. So actually, let me just go back just a little bit. So before this battle at Quinn, I mean, I was in quite a few different battles. Like I said, the Pan American Fest battle. I was on in the B96 battle as well at Mindles High School. I was chosen one of the DJs to compete for the South Side. That's when I competed in the South Side. That's when Steve Silk Hurley won that one. So I was part of that battle. Also, during that time as well, let's see, what other battles were there? There were, yeah, pretty much there was a B96 one as well, but that was a little bit later. But, during that time, I mean, I was in record pools. I was in even like back. I was even a break dancer, by the way. Believe it or not.
You a break dancer?
Crazy crew rockers, man. And I was also with Windy City, but Crazy Crew Rockers, that's the ones who I was breakdancing with. And there was this big battle of breakers once upon a time. It was Crazy Crew Rockers versus DTR, Down to Rock. And these DTR guys, they had their jackets and their hats, and they were the lady killers, man. Yeah, they had their their big following. And yeah, Crazy Crew Rockers, we're guys from the streets, man. We throw down. You know what I mean? We can.
Where was this battle at?
This battle was the Western Ballroom on 35th and Western. Huge place. So right before we went to this to the Battle of the Breakers, we all went to Chinatown to go buy our yellow Bruce Lee suits. And it was just for that day. I mean, it was just like so calculated. It was great. Went up there, stole the show. I mean, we beat DTR, beat them hands down. But get this, people were passing out flyers like if DTR like have won the battle, and it just like blew up on them. You know what I mean? They didn't expect to lose. And they were passing out flyers. Oh yeah, we got this battle, and come check us out at this other place. Blah blah blah. Boy, we spoiled that one big time. Yeah.
So I was just trying to figure out then where you never battled the floor masters. You know, what's up with that?
I don't know, that different areas. And again, music was my passion. You know what I mean?
Right. No,
And,
and that's that's what happened with me and stuff like that. I was breakdancing and stuff like that. But I mean I think one of the common denominators that we see with a lot of DJs is that there is breakdancing. And it was kind of how can I say when I was on the Phil Donahue show, that was one of the questions that was asked me. We're trying to impress the girls. That's what we were doing. We're showing off. We're doing our moves and stuff like that. And I'm sure that was part of the reason why we did what we did. To
yeah.
kind of
Well, back then, it was like in high school, it was like, ooh, the girls, like they like the guys from the football teams. You know what I mean? No, this was different now. Now,
right.
the other girls were like, oh wow, we got to date these breakers. You know what I mean? It wasn't the football team anymore. We stole their thunder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just remember that because of the whole thing with that was one of the questions. You were the as he said, you were the rooster and with all the hens and stuff like that, and that was it. I mean, that was why you spend on your head enough time doing windmill, and it
Yeah.
was it. It was over with. And all of a sudden, here comes a girl. Hi.
Yeah. Yeah. So after high school, I was doing, like I said, Richie's, TKOs. I was also, of course, had my full-time job. I was at the University of Chicago. I did a lot of media stuff there. And during that time, I was, right after CYC, I went to work at the University of Chicago. Then I got involved with WHBK at the University of Chicago. And WHBK 88.5 was like one of the biggest hip hop stations in the country. And this is a tiny little college station, which like it was well known for their hip hop before even hip hop really broke out big. I mean, if you were a rapper in Chicago, HBK was the one that you were going to go to play your music, your demos, and I mean, it was going to get heard. And believe it, I mean, I'm sure a lot of big time hip hop rappers did go to HBK interview or played a lot of their music there as well. I was a big hip hop DJ as well at one point. Not just the old school stuff. Every genre had their peak. And I did the freestyle. I did the hip hop. I did the old school stuff. I did the high energy stuff. The disco, like I said, the funk. I mean, it just I changed as where I went, and I pretty much just I merged into whatever was popular in the areas that I was going into.
Right.
So let's see, HBK. I mean, during that time, I think I was probably like 19 years old. I mean, this is again pre Richie's as well. I DJed at Alcatraz as well. I DJed at Village Cafe. For these guys before. I mean, I did a lot of guest spots during those times too. I wasn't resident in a lot of these places, but I mean, I was there DJing at these places. So pretty much, and then like right before Richie's 21, I was starting to produce music as well a little bit. I attended winter music conferences in Miami, in 1997. I think that was my 1996, 97. Those were my first years that I went to the winter music conference in Miami. I won Battle of DJs there, took second place, 1997. DJ Speed won first place, and I won second place. I don't know who won the third, but that was the first year that the Winter Music Conference ever hosted Battle of DJs, and DJ Speed and I were the very first ones to pretty much take it. Let's see. Also, after that, I mean, like I said, going back to 21 years old, did Richie's Thursdays, had a lot of concerts there. We had like K7, we brought them in, Rockers Revenge, Taps, Lime, a lot of live bands. I was in charge of all that stuff at Richie's. Did pretty well. Um, and of course the battles at Quinn. I also did another battle at Janelle's. I forgot what year it was, but Janelle's hosted a battle as well. I did also the battle of the DJs for B96. That was when Bobby D took that one. So I was one of the contenders for that battle. During that time, I was doing bars on Rush Street, Mothers, PS Chicago, Poets, so I didn't just stick to one area during that. I was looking for places to go.
Okay.
And people would take me in, it was great. I was doing Shelter back then as well. I DJ'd at in the Aspen Room, during those times as well. The Warehouse, JJ brought me in. I was doing the Warehouse as well in the basement, at one point. One guy that really inspired me to go into production as far as making music, Carlos Mojica, and he used to hang out at Richie's all the time as well. And he's this producer, he just passed away actually a little under a year ago as well. Rest in peace, Carlos. I remember his first words, or I remember him saying to me, his words, it was just like yesterday. He goes, Nady, he goes, you're a great DJ. He goes, but why spin them when you can make them? And that just inspired me, like that. It was just a light switch. Very, very next weekend, I bought all kinds of recording gear.
You mean like your 808 behind you?
That's the MPC 4000.
Okay.
I bought an MPC 3000. And by the way, right now that's the world's biggest paperweight right now. But I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of rearranging all my gear. I'm creating another recording studio downstairs, and I got everything in boxes right now. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Harv is commenting on it. Harv Roman.
And Harv Roman, thank you, Harv Roman. Actually, I'd like to thank Harv Roman for CYC as well. He was. I did take his course for radio, and I believe they when you took his course, you get your FCC license. And thank you very much, Harv,
right.
For being a part of that in my life. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So now you're doing Rush Street, you're doing all the guest spots, and you're doing Shelter. You're pretty much all over, kind of just generally gigging it. You're gigging all the places and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes.
This is early 2000s.
I would say still in the 90, 98, 96. That's not even 2000s yet. I was doing Chicago Groove records. That's like back in 98, I want to say.
Okay.
With Benji, Julian Perez, Rich, and Spiro. The people in Chicago Groove Records were great. Benji Espinosa gave me the opportunity, and that's from there when I bought all my gear. I was putting stuff out like crazy, and thank you very much, Chicago Groove, for that. I started remixing a couple things for a couple other artists, Reggie Benjamin, and a handful of artists, remixes. During that time, we were doing record pulls as well, VIP record pull. VIP record pull started in New York. Benji and Julian had some pretty good connections with VIP record pull in New York. So we started our own branch in Chicago. Angel, Little Angel, he goes by the name of that. He was in charge of that. I helped out as well. And Salsa guy, he was on with you not too long ago.
Louis
Louis,
Rivera. That's
Louis, that guy is so awesome. He is so humble. I gotta hand it to him. He has awesome personality. Him and Angel ran that record pool. I was in charge of some of the dance stuff as well. But I mean, between this team here, I mean, we were getting serviced by, I mean, so many people at that time. I mean, we had all the B96 DJs. We had Bill. I mean, everyone you can mention, top DJs, they were all on our list, and we were get serviced by everybody.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, but and then before that, I mean, I was in a couple of DJ International had their own record pool. I was in that one as well. Yaya and Christian were running that one. I mean, you know, I was involved with that as well. Well, as far I was a member, not involved, but a member. As that progressed, I was also reporting for Hitmakers as well. I was a music reporter. Thanks to Benji Spinoza hooked that up for me, and yeah, I mean it was just so great. It was when you're a music reporter for Hitmakers or like Billboard. I mean, people find you. You know, major labels are just throwing stuff at you, wanting for them to put their stuff on your list. I mean, I was my doorstep at home was just boxes every day of music, and just think about it, getting service from all these major labels, a lot of independent as well because they want to break their music into these magazines, plus the record pool stuff that I was getting. I mean, I was getting vinyl like crazy, you know. So and still have it, believe it or not. I kept all my vinyl.
Wow, that's good. So you got basement of vinyl, right? I mean,
I have a lot of them. A lot of stuff is boxed up. I just you know, I got to go through it some of these days. I think Boogie right now he's selling a lot of his stuff, and you know, it's a great investment. You know, I spent a lot of money on this stuff, and you know, it's great to have, but a lot of stuff is digital now, and a lot of people are like, well, you know, vinyl, you know, you should have. I understand it. I've been there. I've done it. But you know, I went digital, yes. But you know, really great words from Frankie Hollywood. So when someone asked him that question, he was like, "Hey, do you still ride a horse to work, or do you get in the car?" You know.
right. No, I mean, definitely helps your back. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not getting any younger. Yeah.
I know, from the crates to a little the
Yeah.
hard drive. That's so.
So during that time, during the Hitmaker stuff, I was reporting. I mean, we were a group of guys. We were during the record pool. I mean, not the record pool, the record label, Chicago Groove. We all got together and we wanted to start up a cable TV show as well. So we called it Chicago Groove Live, and I got a lot of footage as well that I got to put together. I definitely, a lot of that stuff should have been out, and I still have it all on tape, and I'm gonna share it with everyone. You know, this is just really great footage of from back in the days that people would never even have thought of seeing this again. And again, this is all before, you know, social media, video on your phones or anything like that. I mean, this is great, you know, footage that you can always go back and like, wow, this is what we used to do, and this is what it was all about. You know, a lot of it, like the Mix Fest stuff. I got tons of footage of all that stuff from the last 3 Mix Fests that we did. And you're in one, you know, you're in a couple of those, and a lot of DJs that when I come out with that video, some of these DJs are like, wow, that was me. Yep. I mean, these guys. I mean, it was really, we were young, and I got a lot of footage of that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, so that was that kind of era, and then
Wait, before you go further,
Mhm.
just in case somebody doesn't know, what do you mean by Mix Fest? What was a Mix Fest?
Mix Fest was a DJ gathering. It was a DJ gathering where, you know, pretty much big DJ lineup. Everyone gets, you know, 30, 20 minutes or something. And a lot of it was sponsored by Richie's, or Hot Jams even sponsored, you know, a couple of them. You know, just a couple of bars. Liquor companies would donate liquor, food, some of the restaurants, and it like just a big DJ party at a forest preserve. I mean, and I created the badges. I still got some of the old badges that I created, and you know, it was almost what. Let's say you couldn't go to the Winter Music Conference, so you go to a Mix Fest locally. That's what I was trying to make it, or we were trying to make it seem like, you know, just that
Right.
that connection, that you know, people can just talk about the, you know, the music and all that stuff. I mean, like, you know, that was the time when I was, you know, creating my music. You know, the CZR helped me a lot with you know, showing me how to produce on an MPC, and you know, we were all gathered there. Some of these DJs were also, you know, they were making records. So, you know, it wasn't just DJs. It was just production. Anyone involved in the industry, you were there. But yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was it was very nice, you know. Hmm.
Okay,
So
I just want to make sure in case people didn't understand.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it was a group of people doing the Mix Fest. I was part of them, but you know, if I didn't mention your name, you know, please forgive me. But yeah, it was a lot of people involved, you know, that made this happen, and you know, thank you so much, you know, from my behalf as well as some of the other DJs. So so I kind of left the South Side, you know, the Richies thing. I mean, I was there. I mean, I was there pretty much for like maybe 6 years strong. Left Richies for about a year. Doc said, "Nandi, we need you. I'll pay you double." I went there like another 4 years strong, and you know, that phased out. I went to downtown. During that, met a couple of promoters, uh, um, Leon and Beto, Sap Entertainment, and you know, started doing stuff with them as well. Left Richie's. I started doing Le Passage, working for Billy Duck, for Rocket Ranch Productions. And so in between that, I was doing Le Passage, was one of the hottest nightclubs in the Gold Coast area during the time. I was there for about, I want to say I was there for about 5 years. Awesome, awesome place, Gold Coast. You were a movie star, you were an athlete, you were there. Uh, and in between that as well, I hooked up with Leon and Beto. They said, "Nandi, you know," and this is what they were at Richie's. They're like, "We like to have a meeting with you." I'm like, okay, you know, had a meeting with them. So Nandi, we want you to come. We want you to join us and do some of our events as well. And so so here's where the Nandi Maxx comes in. If you're going to ask me that question, so I was at Nandi Maxx this whole time. I was Nandi pretty much on my records. You'll find it as Nandi V. So Beto and Leon said, "How about if we change your name?" And I said, "Okay, like, well, what do you have in mind?" And he said, "Nandi Maxx." And I said, "Let's go with it." So since then, Nandi Maxx took off. The rest is history on that. I was DJing at Vinyl for Leon and Beto, Andromidas, Baja Beach Club, Elixir, you know, just a handful of places that. And now Beto and Leon, they were doing like rock pop in Espanol / house beats and stuff. So I during that time, little at the ending of Richie's, I was doing a lot of Spanish rock pop as well. And then they brought me in to do that as well, along with Galletas, Roberto Lara, Roberto Rocco Mix. So we did Vinyl, and then Victor, I think, on the second floor. I mean, those were the places to be at it during those times too. Then you got then you got like Convent, Frankie V, V5, and them. So during those times, you know, you had V5, you had Sap Entertainment, and a couple other promoters as well. You yourself was doing quite a few things during that time too. And let's see, so like the Frankie thing, uh, Boogie, I was hanging out with him a lot. He introduced me to a lot of people, owe to him a lot too. During that time, Boogie was the one that actually hooked up the Le Passage, Billy Deck stuff. Thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate it. And from there, I just rode the bus. I rode the roller coaster, got really good with them, and just made it work there for years and years. Top DJs, top places. Boogie was a man that he knew where to throw the right people in the places. We
Right.
we didn't deal with promoters during that time as well. In a way, yes, promoters did come up to me and wanted me to play for them, but my strategic point was I tackled a lot of places. I worked for the owners, of these places,
Right.
and I mean I like back in like Le Passage days, and even like some of the other clubs that I did. I mean I was the only DJ back then. There was no like, well, this guy's guest DJing, and you got like 100 guys, coming in to do a freaking guest spot. Dude, I was knocking out 6-7 hours a night and didn't even repeat one song and kept these dance floors going. I mean, I it, it I can't see too many DJs doing that anymore, where you're the only DJ and you're gonna just take care of the whole night. You know, there's a very few breed that can actually handle a lot of that stuff. You know, so
I agree. It just that people don't understand that. It's
correct.
there's a science to controlling the floor for
Yeah.
5 hours, 6 hours. It's not like
Oh
it,
God, believe me, when I was DJing at Richie's, you tried something new, forget it, you lose the crowd. So if you can keep the dance floor packed at Richie's, and you went somewhere else, dude, somewhere else was just like a breeze. For example, like Le Passage and what's the other places that, you know, I'd go there and I'd play all the top stuff. I mean, it was a piece of cake, and it was just like people enjoyed new stuff. People enjoyed, the change, the transitions and so forth.
right.
But like a lot of these Southside places, they're so damn picky. It's unbelievable. I'm like, but you keep them going. I mean, you're a superstar DJ if you don't lose anybody on the floor.
Yeah.
So you know, during the Leon stuff, Beto, Sap Entertainment, Baja Beach Club was huge, man. I mean, we used to take us so long to get to the DJ booth. Uh, During that time, also we did Voyeur with V5, uh, um, Rick, the owner over at Voyeur. First Fridays, I did First Fridays as well. I helped out with Rick Guerrero and Julio Sierra, and I mean we were there at Excalibur. Uh, you know,
Right.
Convent, I did a few guest spots at Convent also. Those were some of the mega places during that time. Andromedas, with Leon and Beto. But then that paces were moving a little bit again. And then I from Le Passage, I went to Entourage. Entourage got me on there. I was doing actually Le Passage on Saturdays. Entourage wanted me there on Fridays. Huge crowd. You know, Le Passage thing kind of ended, so I was doing Friday and Saturdays at Entourage. I was there for quite a few years as well. I mean, this is River North, and you know, this is before
Well,
River North was even exploding. so so you could just imagine, we were really doing well. Uh, During that time as well, the Perez brothers told Gabriel Segura, "Hey, go check this guy out. Nady, he's over at Le Passage." And this is when Gabriel was kind of working on doing his Green Dolphin thing. And sure enough, when he kicked off Green
right.
Dolphin, he brought Omar, Ricky, and me, and a handful of DJs as well. And Green Dolphin, I was there probably 5 years strong as well on a Saturday night. During that time as well, Transit, Barry was close to Barry. Barry kept me on one of the, sometimes I would do the big room, I'll do the small room, I'll do the loft, I do like a lot of the hip hop stuff upstairs.
Right.
So I was really flexible. I mean, put it this way, I was doing hip hop in a couple other places. I was doing rock pop in Espanol, another place. I was doing Le Passage. I was doing, house, underground, top 40, Entourage, same thing there. So, I mean, my genres were all over the place and I kept it going, you know what I mean? So pretty much, kept that going pretty far. So right after Le Passage, which was a Billy Deck Rocket Ranch a venue. They left. They opened up their own venues, Rocket Bar and Grill. After Rocket Bar and Grill, they opened up Underground. So pretty much they kept me on board. I was doing a lot of Rocket Bar and Grill stuff. Underground, even up to date, Underground. I do tons of events there as well. So let me just squeeze this in between all that. Now, I'm in the media business, audiovisual. During all this DJ stuff, I was still working and doing all my media stuff. I was a director of AV at a couple of hotels, assistant director. And so I was involved not only in the DJ business, but the audio and video stuff, which intertwines a bit, that's what it's all about. And I'm actually not only just DJing, I'm working full time at these companies for AV. Plus, I'm doing my own personal AV now as well. Build up since I was working at a lot of these clubs. A lot of these clubs have private events, and when there's private events, you need media services, you need audiovisual, you need DJs as well. So I tapped into that market, which that was like my third profession, during that time. I was doing 3 things: full-time job, DJing, plus my AV stuff now. So my AV list was growing big as well. Knowing all these venue owners. When you work at these venues, you get to meet all these liquor liquor branding people.
Companies. Right.
And I mean, I got in good with all these liquor companies. Hey, we're doing an event here. So I just started just webbing out so much, because it's part of the industry there. Like you're a DJ there, you got music, you got visuals, you got branding, so now I'm in the middle of this scene now. Like, so the DJ thing is like, should I keep going? Or do I explore the next market? And that's what happened. But like I said, I've never stopped DJing. Up to date, I still DJ for a lot of the big venues. Not residency, but now as packages with AV and with a lot of corporate stuff. And believe me, corporate stuff pays you a lot more than your residency DJ and all this stuff. So put it this way, I was standing at a nightclub, 8 hours, 6 hours, DJing all night, making X amount of dollars. So now I'm opening up my business, doing all this AV services. I'm making triple of that at a fraction of the time.
Correct.
So that's where I expanded.
So let's has the pandemic at this time affected you in this AV?
11 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, all my AV services are at standstill right now. Maxx Multimedia, we're an AV company. I mean, we do large conferences. We do small meetings as well. I mean, you name it, anything that has to do with TV monitors, projection, video, audio, festivals. I mean, that's all me. I invested so much money and a lot of gear. I mean, to make this company, grow, and doing phenomenal. Even from the beginning of the year, I mean, January came in, we were doing so well. As soon as this hits, rock bottom. But it's fine. You know, my media business there, I own all my gear. I have everything I need. I could just flick a switch on and start just where I left off.
Okay.
During this whole time too, I was doing I buy real estate as well. So all this money I do from DJing, I do from my AV production stuff, I reinvest in real estate. And now I'm doing DJing, media stuff, audiovisual, and then and now I do real estate as well. So I buy properties. You know, I have quite a few. Uh, uh, so this pandemic thing really took a hit on my Maxx multimedia. My real estate stuff is doing very well, but now that I have this free time, you know, from all my media stuff, I tapped into a new market. I started a portfolio in the market, and I'm doing day trading in the morning now.
Okay. My other guy, Frankie Rodriguez, that's exactly what he does as well. So it's that's what he's been doing that for quite a while.
Mhm.
And you know, and we always talking, and he's busy. I mean, I understand you guys are busy now. That's
Oh,
you guys are.
I learned overnight, by the way, and it is just it's so intense. You got to have the money to do it, okay? And it's so intense. You know, you got to a lot of research is involved, a lot of risk, and it's just it's just calculations of, you know, what do you think these companies are going to do. And you know, I worked at the University of Chicago, and I worked at a business school, and I doing media. I did a lot of classroom media where pretty much I was taking these courses there, sitting there, you know, with all these students learning about economics. You know, you know, I didn't. I mean, I worked full time for the school, so I mean, I was working while I was sitting in these classrooms, learning this, this, you know, these. I mean, I worked with Nobel Prize winner professors, you know, and I've known them, you know, I know them from their, you know, with, you know, on first name basis, and they know me as well. Like, you know, they even said, like, by all means, come on down and sit in my classroom if you want, you know. And uh, I mean, I picked up a lot, you know, working at the University of Chicago as well. You know, especially the business going. Like I said, a lot of Nobel Prize winners are there, and I knew them. I knew them all.
So this thing hit you with the media part of it, and you're doing the portfolio. You're live streaming as well, right? You're doing.
I have done a few live streams. I got all my stuff set up. Uh, uh, I mean, I'm in the media business. I mean, I have cameras. I have everything to do it. So why not? You know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
So and that's another thing that I'm going to do with my Maxx multimedia is I'm pretty much going to offer a lot of live stream meeting options, you know, with different companies that I work with. So that's just going to increase my sales pitch. You know, pretty much after this is done, it's pretty much like hitting the reset button. And if you could, I'm going to rebrand myself, hit the reset button. And I mean, this is like a fresh start for a lot of people. I hope a lot of people take advantage of this fresh start.
Man, I
And
agree. I agree.
and this is it, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, the reset button here, and you're going to have to find a new way to remarket yourself, and you got to do it if you're in the business. You know, DJ business, you know, media business, you know, even in real estate. Now I'm doing day trading. I mean, it's a big animal out there. You know, there's no reason why, you know, you're going to say there's nothing to do.
Well, what is your feeling about the nightclub aspect of it? The customer nightclub. What do you think is going to happen there? You got any opinions of that?
Well, I mean, it's it's hard to say because I do stuff for like bigger clubs like underground and and stuff in smaller little bars as well too. So it's going to impact. It's going to impact it a lot differently. You know, of course, you're going to expect bigger numbers at bigger places. You know, at smaller places, I don't know how far you can survive without without the numbers that you were getting before. It's a number game. I mean, I think uh, if you could afford to stay open, you're a very lucky guy. And
Well, well, didn't this kind of the same thing happen when E2 situation happened in Chicago, where all of a sudden the capacities were, and then
well,
a lot of the mega clubs are gone because it was you couldn't
yeah, the
have.
fire marshal gets involved. I've been at a couple of places where it was just so crowded. Uh, Fire marshals come in, they like gotta let people out, and I don't know how you do it, or how you're gonna do it, but you need to kick a few people out, and that's horrible. You know what I mean? Like you're there, and maybe you even pay to get in there, and like gotta go.
But
And
then what I'm saying, didn't that cause a lot of the big clubs to basically shut down, or should I say like I call it mega clubs. There's hardly no mega clubs anymore.
yeah,
It reduced that whole aspect because you couldn't have 1,800 people in a place anymore, and you're limited to 1,000 people. Okay, you said the numbers game.
mhm.
Now with this COVID and this what you call now, you're even limited to even less than, I mean, way less than that now. Um, I wonder if we're going to have anything but lounges.
Yeah,
It's,
it's tough to say. I mean, not just the bar and club scene. I do a lot of uh, functions like at parks and so forth for my business, and you know, there's kids that get on these jumpers, and they're sharing all these games that they're playing with, and there's a lot of interaction with kids, and how do you separate this, or how do you're going to sit at a bar, someone's going to get off the stool, another person's going to sit on it, you know what I mean? It's it's tough. I mean, you're going to go to a club, sorry, you got to wear a mask. How are you going to enjoy a drink with your mask? Take a sip, take your mask off and put it back on. It it's going to be very interesting. I don't know how this is all going to be accomplished, but you know
unless they find a vaccine, then everything's good. But that's a big if. We know that.
what if there isn't? And
All right,
I don't know. We have to figure this out. But but yeah, it's going to be interesting. My Maxx multimedia. I mean, we're ready. I have a lot of repeat clients. I have a lot of meeting planners that I deal with. A lot of nightclubs. I have big name companies. Like Cadwell Bank. I mean, the NBA hires me to do a lot of stuff. United Center. I have a big list of companies that are repeat. Lollapalooza is not even going to happen this year. I used to do all the after parties at these places. I would do sound for like Katy Perry or some of the Black Eyed Peas would come out, and 50 Cent would come in and do a set. Just surprise little concerts, and that's I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But even
that's the scare.
even these corporate events, I mean, usually these corporate events, we do events that hold 300 people. How is this going to happen? Weddings. I feel for all these weddings that are being postponed. The other day, a friend of mine wanted me to give them a quote for an event at the Art Institute, and I was all happy. This is for June 20 something, and I'm like, oh, cool. I guess they're going to open. They're going through with it, and I'm setting up the invoice and the quotes and so forth. And I was pretty much done with it. And then I saw all the notes, and it said 2023 or 2021. And I'm like, oh man, okay. So I called him, I'm like, hold on, am I reading this correctly? This is for next year, right? He's like, yep. I'm like, great. But I'm cool. A lot of AV companies that I know are hurting because they're a lot bigger than I am, and I'm the small guy. But I get a lot of events, to believe it or not. But the big guys that have staff and families that depend on this income, I mean, they're getting hit really bad.
Exactly. That's I feel bad for Pink Noise, and those guys are one of the biggest, and from Roberto and
Enrico, yeah.
That's just sad. And and I was talking to George Ortega, another events promoter and stuff like that, and he says it. He goes, there are a lot of people that relied on people working at the festivals and the summer jobs and stuff like that. And then let's not talk about what just happened with the looters and everything else. That I feel for Sam Sanchez. We all know him. He was ready. I feel really bad because Sam Sanchez was there giving out food to all the nurses. He was giving out food to all the industry people. He was doing all the right things, and I hear, he was talking about, he's not happy about the way they're handling small businesses. But then what happens? They go in there and they tear up his place, and now he can't even open up. That's just heartbreaking. And it's like, and then I look at it, and today was supposed to be the opening, or yesterday was supposed to be the opening for these businesses.
Yeah.
But a lot of these downtown businesses, they can't even open up because it's destroyed. It's gutted out because of what's going on. So it's really sad because now it's almost like a double whammy that's happened right now. And I really wonder, and I feel really sad for, Sam posted that all he can do is cry at this point because, there's so much that people, and that's that's just one aspect of it. There's the other guys that work at, the Walmart. There's other guys that working at the, Home Depot. The people, just all those people that, their jobs are boarded up now.
Yeah, and that's why that's why I really, really strongly like to tell a lot of these DJs. I mean, it's not for me. Me DJing was an expensive hobby. It still is. I've never really thought I would gonna make a career out of this, and I still don't think. For me, it's still a hobby. It's a passion, and I'm good at it, and I can market it, and I incorporated it into my business as well. And then with that, I started real estate because I know this stuff in a heartbeat can change, and it's not 100% reliable. So I mean, it just I've always prepped for the future all the time. Boogie, I still razz him on this one. DJs, get a job. Yes, that's true.
J-O-B.
J-O-B. But and it's just I see a lot of young guys out there. Oh, I don't need to work. I'm only going to get paid X amount of dollars for working a whole week. I can make that in one day for DJing. Dude, believe it or not, no. That mentality will not take you anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. Well, time is coming up, or almost coming.
Yeah. But I mean,
any last words to the people?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in, giving, and especially you, Angela, for giving me the opportunity to to participate in this thing you're doing, with all the celebrities and DJs that been part of your career, your life, and I'm very, very happy and fortunate that I have been part of this, in your life and in other people's lives as well. And believe it or not, it's a big city, but it's a small, it's a small world. And this proves it. There is a connection with a lot of people that we interact. And by you doing this, really brings in those connections, and it's interesting. I sit and listen to some of these that you do, and I like, wow, it's new information to
It's
me. But
it's interesting because it's almost like this has been set up all my life to do this. You know,
I appreciate it.
to do these connections, so
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's, as we all know, and there's many branches to this tree and stuff like that, but believe me, you're one leaf and there's another leaf, there's another leaf, and there's a million leaves out there.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy to bring all the leaves together and showing where the roots started from. That's really
Yeah,
good.
and if I cross anyone else's path, that's been on your show, or even these newcomers, I'm more than happy to help anybody. That's what I'm all about. I've showed so many DJs, ropes here and there, the business aspects as well, and the marketing and just in technology as well. But I always love to see someone do more than what I have done. That's my thing, and that brings me a sense of accomplishment, that I can see other people do what I do and even better.
Correct. I mean, no, that's what I just want to make sure that, people understand that that's what, that's why we're here. Honestly, I think if everybody understands that, and I want to bring up something because that was something I talked in the meeting. I don't know if you caught that. I was with everything that's going on, that you see in the writing and the black and brown and all the stuff.
Sure.
What is your feeling about how important is music now for everybody as far as what's happening in the world?
Well, I mean, music is universe. I mean, I think it brings people together. I just like different genres. Be open. How about that? You have places that just like to concentrate on certain kind of music and keep it, just that way. Be a little more open-minded, and music comes from all kinds of cultures. And believe me, if I went through my record list, or my music list, it's from around the world. It's not just, being black, being white, brown, or yellow, whatever color. Uh, you. How about this? You should not see color.
Agree. Well, I agree on that. I agree on that because we're all humans.
We're all human. Exactly.
Right.
And just treat everyone nice. That's if that's the way you want to be treated as well. There's there's a lot of things out there that are misleading, but I keep a very open minded. I always ask myself, what if, and there's always another side to things. And I'm not just
Right.
I'm not a single minded person. I always look at the other story.
Right. Cool.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think we're going to sign out. Nandi, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good seeing you. I haven't seen you in a while. So it's been a while, other than at 5 o'clock in the morning at the restaurant, So,
Exactly. Well, I'd like to thank everyone again for tuning in, and share it with your friends. If anyone has any more other questions, Nady Maxx. I'm on Facebook. I'm easy person to find, and I'd be more than happy to share any other experiences, or if I left anyone's name out, I'm very sorry. But like I said, I would love to have more conversations with anyone else that would be interested in sharing more of my story.
All right, thank you, Nady. That is it for the
Thank
front
you.
door show, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.